I'm Jade Dempsey, and welcome to the Backline Beat podcast. In our first ever episode, I talked to Tyler Bryant of Tyler Bryant the Shakedown. We talk about his influences, opening for big bands, and how his musical philosophy has changed over the years. Stay tuned for more.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, you?
I'm wonderful. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. What you just were on tour, right? Doing some shows?
We just did Texas, Louisiana, and Georgia, and we're about to head to North Carolina and Virginia here in a couple days.
And it went good, those shows you just played?
Yeah, they were all awesome.
First shows of the year, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I guess it was. It was the first shows of the year. So, yeah, last night I had a total mind meltdown, and I told someone, I was like, yeah, I think we're about done touring for the year. And then I looked at the calendar and I was like, oh wait, we're already in the new year.
Yeah, of
New
course.
Year's happened and we're off and rocking. Yeah,
So,
but I'm just happy to be out playing and to have the opportunity to be playing after so long of missing it.
yeah, of course. I could only imagine. It's nice going to shows again for me and stuff like that. It's a good thing to have for sure.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we could get right into it. Where did you start from? What made you want to start playing guitar?
Well, I guess the first thing that sort of sparked an interest in music for me was seeing a video of Elvis Presley when I was in first grade. And I was just instantly obsessed with Elvis and wanted to be an entertainer. And then when I was 11, I met this man named Roosevelt Twitty in a music store who was just like a real deal Texas blues man. And he became one of my best friends and would pick me up from school and take me to his house. And my parents would drop me off, and we would just sit there and listen to blues records and play guitar. And we really became best friends. All the people around our surrounding communities would call us the blues buddies because it was this old man and this little kid just running around playing blues together. And from there, I started getting into classic rock and realizing that the rock and roll I loved all stemmed from the blues. And so a big part of my mission was when I was 17 was I'm going to move to Nashville and start my own rock and roll band. And I'm going to use it as a way to tell people about the blues music that I love, because none of my friends ever listened to that. So, I've done that. I'm still telling people about all these records that I love.
What made it Nashville as opposed to say Austin, which was closer to home for you?
I think I was Austin seemed like a great place to go if I wanted to play live music in Austin, but my goal was to become a songwriter.
Okay.
And so I kind of through just a couple of chance encounters met a few Nashville songwriters and publishers, and I met this guy named Jody Williams who ran BMI, and they were all kind of going, come down here, we'll help introduce you to some people. So it felt like I was just kind of following the signs that my life was giving me, where it was like, well, it seems like there's already some inroads here in Nashville. And I had a couple of friends that I one of them I actually had lunch with today. It was someone I met when I was 15 who was like, man, yeah, you can come to sessions with me and see how studios work. And I just had people that were very helpful and nice. Like Jaron from the Cadillac 3 was my next door neighbor, and it's like all these sort of things sort of happened, and it just seemed like it made sense. But I do love Austin.
Yeah. What was your first guitar?
My first guitar was like a little tiny Harmony acoustic guitar that came from a garage sale. And then my first electric guitar was an Epiphone Les Paul that I put on layaway at Holly Bond Music Store in Paris, Texas, and had to save up my money to be able to pay it off. But I paid it off, and I still have it.
Yeah, I had my Jade's Guitar Fund for my first electric, and it was also an Epiphone Les Paul, of course.
Yeah, I still have the Tyler's Guitar Fund for a guitar every now and then. I mean, even though there's probably 100 guitars in my house, it's like there's always something.
Yeah, finding the right one.
Yeah, man.
Are you someone who does it, kind of searches for the right guitar? Are you someone who gets one and then like feels it out and keeps it if you like it, or sells it if you don't?
I'm someone that has a million guitars and plays one. I have my main pink Strat is like the one that I always reach for, and it's the one that I play the most. Like when we go on the road, I only take I take 5 guitars with me, and they're all for specific tunings. And to have one backup for my main one. But in the studio, it's a different thing. I use them as like I think of them as colors. You can't make a painting with just one color. I mean, you
Yeah.
can. Some people can, but I like to have different colors to paint with, and each guitar does a different thing, and I keep some of them tuned differently or strung up differently, or just to have different flavors to maybe inspire a song or inspire a different idea that wouldn't have happened otherwise.
Is there one guitar that you find yourself going to in your studio a little bit more?
Yeah, it's just this. It's that one right there, that pink Strat. It's like it's the one I go to live. It's the one I go to in the studio. It's been just sort of like a traveling companion with me for so many years now that it's I feel more at home on that guitar.
Definitely. It's a weird thing with instruments. When you connect with one, it's a hard thing to explain. It just, you feel at home, like you said, just there's
Yeah.
something about it that you just connect with. And
It's all just so subjective, and that's what's so fun about music and creating music is, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And some of the guitars I have around here that don't play good, they make you play a certain way that might be beneficial to a certain song. Like if you want a song to sound like you're kind of arm wrestling it into the place it needs to be, maybe the guitar you're most comfortable on isn't the move, and I just like having things like that. I have like tenor guitars and guitars with high string, like like there's this guitar I recently got, and I put the Nashville tuning strings on it, and it's only the little strings from a 12 string set, and so it rings like and chimes like a bell, and it kind of has that Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers sort of sound to it. But just having different things like that around are really inspiring to me.
yeah, for sure, for sure. When you did first start playing guitar, who were the people that you were playing like songs you were learning, and were your go-to?
Well, it was because I was into so much blues. I was really obsessed with Johnny Winter, and I loved that because Johnny Winter was doing a lot of like Muddy Waters covers, and he even was producing some Muddy Waters stuff. And Muddy was one of my favorites, so I was trying to play his songs on slide, and then also just like I loved the way that Johnny Winter seemed to be like progressive with the blues, and he was doing it in a way that felt dangerous to me. He was making it rock and roll and relevant to his peers, and so I was really drawn to that. Johnny Winter was someone I always tried to emulate. Jeff Beck, of course, I just studied his records and always wanted to kind of. I mean, I honestly um, never really tried to play like Jeff too much. Only a few times, but it's just because his playing was always untouchable to me. He's so good that it was like, don't try to do that. Just let him be. Like you kind of got to give him a wide berth because you're not gonna do it that good.
Of
Um,
course. Do you want to
uh,
talk? Of course, he recently passed. Do you want to talk about your time with him? I saw your Instagram post. It was a very nice post that you put up about him influencing you and just your time with him. What was that like?
oh man, it was a dream come true for me, and he was so nice to me and just the coolest guy. I mean, he's he was as cool as he was talented. And that's really saying something. But yeah, I still like feel so grateful for just getting to go out and spend time like amongst a hero of mine and arguably the best to ever do it.
Yeah, yeah. It's all the stories coming out were just like how generous he was. He was the man up on that stage, but he just is gladly step aside and let you have whoever is up there have the moment.
Yeah, man. Well, and I think that's he because he had to be just he was comfortable enough with himself, which I mean, I can't imagine how you wouldn't be if you were Jeff Beck, but yeah, he just, it was the first time I ever got to ride on a tour bus, just a lot of first memories, were on that Emotion and Commotion tour that I kicked off on with him. Yeah, early on, I learned so much. I watched every sound check from the side of the stage. I watched every show. If I didn't, because I started out following the bus in a van, and all of the folks on that tour were so kind to me, and they became real friends, still people that I'm in touch with today. And they kind of took me under their wing and let me travel with them. And, I really got to know Jeff as a friend. And yeah, he always gave me good advice. And through the years, I would send him songs I was working on, and he'd tell me what he liked and, you know, what he didn't like and that kind of thing. And I always really valued that.
Um, what's it like being on a big tour? Because you've toured with, Guns N' Roses and AC/DC. What's it like being on a big tour like that?
Well, it's amazing. I mean, for me, it's the older I get, the more I just feel lucky that I still get to do this for a living, and
Yeah.
I think I always wanted to like when I first started a band, it's like the goal was how do we make this the biggest band in the world? And the older I've gotten, the more it's like, how do we make this sustainable? How do we have our audience and get to play the music that we like and just do that for as long as we can? Like, how do we stay on this ride? And I think that going out and doing like support for AC/DC or Guns N' Roses was an incredible learning experience. And on those tours, we got to tour a lot more comfortably than we ever had. And we got to experience just things I'd never experienced playing for 100,000 people at one time before. Like, that's a really incredible experience that I don't really think you can prepare for. You think you can prepare for it and that you can rehearse and all that, but when you walk out on stage and there's that many people, that's a feeling I mean, it's like getting pushed back by a fast car or something, and then you got to push against it and come out the other side. And so it was really cool to get to feel that and to feel it time after time. But the thing that I really came away with was, these are AC/DC fans. These are Guns N' Roses fans. They're here because these bands have crafted songs in a way that has allowed them to have this. And how do I craft songs to bring people to a Shakedown show, whether it be in a club or a theater or whatever? But we wanted to play longer. I mean, 30 minutes is tough for a guy like me. You just want to keep going.
Yeah. Speaking of the Shakedown show, for those who have only listened to your music, what's a show like?
Well, a Shakedown show is it's four guys who leave it all on the stage. There's a lot of energy that gets spent, and we swing for the fence every show. There's we kind of like to wear our roots and influences on our sleeve, and we don't take ourselves too seriously. We kind of treat every show like a celebration. We really have, over the years, been lucky to have a great group of fans that have supported us and come out to each show. So I live for the exchange between us and the people that support our music. It's like I know a lot of them by name. I see a lot of the same people at the barricades, and then when there's new people, it's cool because I feel like Shakedown fans are as much of a part of the show as we are. Where I see people welcoming each other, and they make friends because everyone's there to share rock and roll. And yeah, it's always a really positive atmosphere at a Shakedown show.
That's good. How did you and the band meet?
I met Caleb Crosby, the drummer, when I moved to Nashville. I was 17, and I was looking for somebody to play with, and we got together and just never stopped playing together. We still play together after all this time. And then I met Graham Whitford, the other guitarist in New York City, and he was introduced to me as the guy that was going to put me out of a job. So I just asked him to join the band, and we've been playing with us ever since. And then Ryan, who's on bass, he actually was attending a crew. We played on the Kiss cruise, and Ryan is a huge Kiss fan. And when he was young, he was on that cruise and saw the Shakedown playing and started following the band around. And then our old bass player, Noah, who's still a really close friend, when he left the band, we were looking for someone to step in and fill that role. And Ryan stepped up and has done a wonderful job. And, it's been really fun incorporating him into the mix.
Where did the name come from?
The name, this story everyone has different memories about this story. But yeah, it was something, the way that I remember it is we had done a show in Syracuse, New York, supporting Aerosmith at the New York State Fair. And they had pyrotechnics on stage, and I'd put my guitar like down on the stage, and somehow some sort of dust got onto the guitar. And the next day I was flying, and my guitar got flagged as having, being a potential bomb threat. And
oh no,
Graham walked by at the airport and said, "Oh, look, it's a shakedown," and we kind of laughed about that, but yeah, that's the way I remember it. But I think Caleb might have a different memory on how that happens. It just feels like it's always been our band name,
Yeah, it just felt right when you, when you came to it.
Yeah.
So you released your first album in 2013. Talk about the process of what's it like making a first album?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. I mean, we certainly had a few swings and misses with different studios and producers, and just trying to figure out what our workflow was. And so much of this band is just about having fun. I think that, like I said, our shows are it's a positive atmosphere. And we wanted our first record to just sound like us, the way it sounds when we get together and rehearse and jam. And, so we ended up going in with Vance Powell, and we recorded that record in 6 days. I think it was just like, we just played it and did it live, and it went all to 2-inch tape, and it was just a very reckless recording experience, honestly. Not zooming in on anything or trying to make anything too perfect, just letting it be. And I think, then during post records, we started zooming in and trying to, once the music business sort of gets in your ear, and it's like, oh, well, if you do this, you'll be successful. And if you do this, you might have a better career. And if you do this, your life will be better. And if you do this, you're going to be happy, and all this stuff. And I think we just put out a record called Shake the Roots. And I think it was like, that was our way of silencing all those voices and just getting back to that initial like childlike enthusiasm, that initial like kill spirit, where it's like, we got to go, we got to do this now. This can't wait. Let's play. And we kind of use that energy on this newest record, and it felt a lot more like us.
Yeah, it's a bit, in the album too, it's a great album. It's a bit more bluesy than your previous records, and you also released it yourselves, did you not, on your own label?
Yeah, we started our own record label, and that's been a whole whirlwind of learning experiences and swings and misses and home runs and all that stuff. But that's just, for us, we decided to start Rattleshake Records to, one, try and get closer to our fans, to cut out the middleman, and two, to just sort of take another step in what I was talking about, of like sustaining this so we can keep doing it for years and years to come. We've, over the last few years, been doing so much recording on our own, where we were going, we don't need to take a bunch of money from a label. Like, if we're going to owe anybody anything, let's just front it ourselves and hire people that are passionate about this band, rather than having people who work on the records who may not even like our band. I mean, we've been very fortunate to work with incredible labels and have incredible label partners. But I think we're also very aware that artists have more power than they've ever had right now in 2023. Like, this is the future. We're here. We have to take the opportunity and bet on ourselves. And I think it's something we've always wanted to do. And we just kind of reached a point where we said, well, if we're going to do it, we may as well do it.
Yeah. Did that stem from making Pressure yourselves in your basement studio, which I recommend? There's a few videos up on YouTube if you want some gear envy. And did it stem from that?
Well, yeah, it stemmed from that. And then I got to, to make a record with Larkin Poe, and like seeing how that record went out and performed, going, well, what's the difference of like us going and spending $50,000 on a record versus us just making a record and capturing the moments. And I think that, especially for the type of music that we're doing, something that I constantly have to remind myself of is, while I might like to spend 10 hours, tinkering with a snare sound, the kid in Delaware who just wants to put his headphones on and hear a song that makes him want to punch his fist through a ceiling is listening to the whole experience. And it's like, how do we set ourselves up to constantly have that whole experience in the forefront of our mind, and not zoom in on, well, this producer did this record, so your chance of success is higher if you do that. It's like, okay, tune those voices out. What is it that we do? And just really trying to focus in on what makes us tick as a band, and water that flower so it grows, and spreads.
Yeah.
And I just think that just the older that I've gotten, and the older that all the band has gotten, it's just become more apparent to us that we just love doing what we love doing, and that's what we want to do. And so if anyone's going to tell us no, it's going to be ourselves.
Yeah. You talked about making the Larkin Poe record. Was that Blood Harmony?
No, we did that record as well.
That one as well.
The one that kind of set off the spark for me was it was the covers album they did, Kindred Spirits.
Oh yeah.
And we did that record in 2 days. I mean, it was just like, it was capturing a moment. And I think I really love that. I love it when recordings are treated like pictures.
Yeah.
It's like, here you are in this moment, snapshot, and then you get to when you hear it, it takes you back to a moment in time. And it's not, I think that the music industry sometimes puts so much weight on a single album, when it's like, I think each record is obviously very important, but each record doesn't have to be a defining, like, you don't have to make Master of Puppets every record. I look at like Elvis Presley, for example, how many records he had and how many records of his I love. And they're all moments and snapshots of him in that time. So just trying to kind of, I'm inspired by that idea. So that's what I'm chasing right now. Maybe in a year it'll be different, but that's kind of how this thing works.
Sorry, go
I was
ahead.
going to say that the Blood Harmony record was done, the same way that Shake the Roots was done, with help from a couple other friends, like Roger Allen Nichols, who's an amazing engineer here in Nashville as well.
It's an incredible album. Is producing something you'd like to kind of do more of?
Oh yeah, during the pandemic, I started working with a bunch of different artists, and now have just been trying to balance being the front man of the Shakedown, producing Shakedown stuff with my bandmates, and then also all of these other projects. I was thrilled that Larkin Poe asked me to co-produce their album, and I've been producing a record for this artist named Frankie Ballard, who's amazing, and then I've got a few other pretty exciting records I'm working on as well. So I'm staying very busy in the studio. Yeah.
What's it like? Because of course you are married to one half of Larkin Poe. What's it like kind of having that musical collaboration in one household? Are you constantly going back and forth, kind of bouncing ideas off one another?
I think we pick and choose when we do that. We certainly play each other everything that we're working on, and I'm very, very fortunate to have such a strong sounding board. She understands what this requires, and I understand what it requires. Like I dropped her off at bus call last night and won't see her again for 3 weeks. And it's great to know that we're good, like we both know what it takes and are able to support each other in that way. If there's a bunch of shows in a row, it's like, all right, hey, you need to save your voice. Let's text and we can. There's just an understanding I feel really lucky to have. But when Rebecca and I write together, which we wrote 4 or 5 songs on the new Blood Harmony record together, and then she co-wrote Hard Learned with me on the new Shakedown record. But for the most part, when we write together, we write like classic country songs in the morning. And I love hearing her sing that sort of thing. And I feel really lucky that I'm the only person in the world that gets to hear it, really. Like we have some songs that are just like, if I could play them for people, there's one in particular that I play it for friends when they come over. And it's like, I just watch people get goosebumps. Her voice is stupid. Yeah.
Yeah. They're coming out my way I think on the 3rd, hoping to be able to cover it. Are we ever going to see those country? Is there ever going to be a Tyler Bryant, Rebecca Lovell country album?
Well, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I've been kicking around. I've been kicking around some ideas for, a record that I would put out as a potential solo album one day. And, my band members all know that that's something that I aspire to do. And Rebecca sang on a handful of those, and she's been putting in her 2 cents. But I think it would be it. I would vote to do it. I would vote to put out some of those because we love like classic old school country, not a lot of the modern country. But I think it would be a lot of fun to make that record, even if it was just for us. But it would be wonderful to share it too.
As we kind of wrap up, we're getting to time. I've just kind of some quick rapid fire kind of get to know you questions. You don't have to put kind of just what's the first thing that comes to mind type of questions. What's your favorite song?
At the moment, it would be Take It With Me by Tom Waits.
Okay. Album?
Wildflowers, Tom Petty.
Band?
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Venue to play?
Favorite venue to play?
Or even type of venue?
I like big clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it when it feels intimate.
Yeah. Favorite venue to watch?
The Ryman.
Yeah, that's definitely a bucket list too. You're lucky you have, that in your backyard, so to speak.
Yeah, I got to play there with Jeff twice. And then Graham's first show with the Shakedown was opening for Heart at the Ryman.
Wow, that would have been a cool show.
Like all downhill from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Favorite city to have a day off when you're on tour?
Oh man, we just had the best day off in Austin, so I'd probably say Austin, Texas.
What's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? That's a tough one too. Hold on. Well, I've got to say, like maybe just because this will piss my wife off. I'm gonna say A Perfect Storm, because like the other day I was like, we got to watch this A Perfect Storm. It's one of my favorite movies, and I realized I had never seen the end of the movie because I'm notoriously awful at falling asleep in movies. Because if I put on a movie, it's like I'm so in it that I don't care. I'm not thinking about my life, which I actually really care about. Then I just fall asleep. And she woke me up and was like, "This is the most depressing movie I've ever seen in my life." And I was like, "Wait, what happens?"
Favorite show?
Favorite show? I'd say Breaking Bad, probably.
Favorite food?
Or The Office. It'd be The Office for sure.
Office.
Favorite food? Mexican food.
Little bonus. First concert.
First concert was George Strait.
What was your first concert you played?
Oh, my first concert that I played, it was at the Roxton Cafe on the town square in Roxton, Texas. It was Mr. Twitty and I, the Blues Buddies. We played for, they gave us each $100 and a steak. Yeah.
If you met a civilization who had never heard music before, what song would you play them? It can be one of yours, it can be someone else's.
I'd probably play them Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix.
Okay. And do you have any advice for any people wanting to join a band or start one?
Yeah, I mean, my advice would be to, follow your heart, follow your own intuition and instincts, because, you know, being yourself is, the most powerful thing that you can do. And also don't get discouraged, because doors will get slammed in your face, but there are always more doors. So you just have to keep knocking on doors until you knock on the right ones, just keep your nose to the grindstone and keep swinging away.
And finally, what's next for Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown?
Well, we've got some new music coming out already. So we've got some exciting things in the works that we'll be announcing soon. And I've been working on a few things personally as well that we'll be announcing in February. And then as well as more tour dates, obviously always posting that on our website, tylerbryanttheshakedown.com. So yeah, lots of exciting things that we'll be sharing more about soon.
Good, nice. Can't wait to hear the new stuff, and hopefully you guys will come up north at some point.
We certainly will.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking the time, and thank you.
Pleasure to talk with you.
Yeah, pleasure to talk with you, and have a good rest of your day and week.
Okay, we'll see you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
If you've made it this far, thank you, and another thanks to Tyler Bryant. Check out backlinebeat.com and click like and subscribe for more.